Inside the most secure prison in America, silence carries power. In ADX Florence, this is where the system doesn't shout. It watches, it waits, and it breaks. When a man decides not to eat here, it isn't a diet, it's defiance. Every meal refused is a message. You can lock my body, but not my will. But inside Florence, that message comes with a price. They call it the Alcatraz of the Rockies, a place designed to erase noise, time, and resistance. Each inmate lives alone in a concrete box, 7 by 12 feet. A narrow slit of glass pretends to be a window. The light never changes much. The air never moves. It's control, measured in seconds and meals. When the first tray arrives, it's like any other day. A guard slides it through the slot, the stainless steel scraping against the door. Powdered potatoes, processed soy, maybe a slice of bread. The inmate looks at it, stares for a moment, then slowly pushes it back. Refusing food in ADX isn't just hunger, it's rebellion. Guards note it down. Cameras record it. No words are exchanged, but the system has noticed. Within minutes, a report is filed. A chain reaction begins. Day 1. The inmate drinks water but won't touch the food. Inside the silence, his stomach growls louder than any guard's voice. He sits on the bed, watching the tiny camera in the corner blink red. He knows they're watching. That's part of the game. Inmates rarely refuse meals without a reason. Some do it to protest conditions. Some do it because they've lost hope. And others, because refusing the only thing they can control gives them a taste of freedom. For a moment, they control something the prison cannot. But the system has patience. It doesn't punish fast. It punishes smart. On the second meal, the tray returns. Same food, same smell, same silence. The inmate doesn't move. He stares at the tray, then back at the camera. A quiet stare down between man and institution. By the third meal, the guard's tone changes. Eat up, one says through the slot, his voice flat. He doesn't care if the inmate eats. He just wants it noted. Refusal number 3. After that, the record goes upstairs. Every calorie missed is logged. Every hour of hunger monitored. At night, the hunger turns to noise. The stomach cramps. The head throbs. The concrete feels colder. Sleep comes in fragments. Some inmates describe hallucinations by day 3. Faces in the walls. Voices in the vents. ADX doesn't need to touch you to torture you. It lets your mind do the work. Inside that box, time stretches. Without food, minutes move like hours. The inmate starts thinking about smells, grease, onions, coffee. Memory becomes torture. He remembers meals from outside. He can almost taste them. Then he opens his eyes and sees the same gray walls. The camera never blinks. It's always watching, silently collecting evidence of his defiance. Refusing food here isn't just personal, it's procedural. After 24 hours, staff are alerted. By 48 hours, the medical team gets involved. Weight, hydration, mental state, all recorded. But before they step in, they wait. Because sometimes the hunger breaks the will faster than any punishment can. The inmate on the floor curls up. The air feels heavier now. He starts to feel lightheaded. But he doesn't move. He wants control. That's what hunger strikes are really about, control. And in Florence, that's the one thing the system never gives willingly. The next morning, a guard approaches the door. He kneels, looks through the slot, and says just one thing. You're making this harder on yourself. But harder is relative here. In a place where every sound is engineered, every smell controlled, every breath monitored, refusing food is the last rebellion. It's saying no in a world built entirely on yes, sir. He sits again, still refusing. The tray returns to the kitchen untouched. The guards exchange looks. They've seen this before, most don't last long. But this one, maybe, won't give up. By day 2, word travels quietly through the tiers. Other inmates hear the news through the pipes. Someone in C Unit is refusing food. A whisper of resistance in a place designed to kill whispers. The hunger builds. The mind dulls. The body weakens. But for the inmate, that pain is proof that he still has a choice. He still owns something the prison can't take, his will. And that's why the system fears it. Not because he's starving, but because he's saying no. By the end of the second day, the guards leave the tray longer this time. They hope the smell might tempt him. Steam rises from powdered gravy. The bread is already hard. The inmate looks once, then turns his back. The lights stay on. The cameras never stop. The game has started. And in ADX Florence, games like this never end well. Because here, hunger isn't just physical, it's weaponized. The moment you refuse food, the system refuses mercy. And that's when the real punishment begins. By the third day, silence becomes heavier than hunger. The inmate's body grows weak, but the system grows alert. Inside ADX Florence, everything is recorded, especially defiance. Every skipped meal, every sip of water, every heartbeat is logged like evidence in a case against the human spirit. Medical staff enter the equation now. Not to help, but to monitor. In Florence, medicine isn't mercy. It's control with a clipboard. The door slot opens early that morning. 2 guards stand by while a nurse kneels at the narrow opening. Her voice is calm, detached. Step forward. We need to check your vitals. No warmth. No threat. Just procedure. The inmate hesitates, then complies. A small device slides through the slot, a pulse oximeter. He places it on his finger. The numbers blink red. Heart rate dropping. Weight, down 5 pounds since intake. The nurse notes it quietly. Continue hydration, she says. Then she stands, knocks on the steel twice, and the door closes again. That sound, 2 knocks, becomes the punctuation of his day. After she leaves, the silence deepens again. He sits on his bunk, dizzy. He thinks of food, but the idea of surrender feels worse than hunger. It's no longer about eating. It's about proving something, even if no one outside will ever know. But the prison knows. And Florence never allows control to slip through its fingers. Once the refusal is official, a report travels up the chain. Psychological evaluation recommended. Nutritional intake observation initiated. Security level unchanged. Everything here is protocol. By afternoon, the pressure begins. A guard approaches with a tone that's almost friendly. You don't have to do this. Nobody wins here. The inmate doesn't respond. The guard shrugs, slides another tray inside, and walks away. The tray stays there for hours. Steam fades. Flies start circling the bread. He doesn't touch it. Somewhere down the hall, a voice yells, another inmate, maybe protesting. The sound echoes like a ghost. Then silence again. Every camera watches. Every movement is timed. Even his breathing pattern is known. The human body isn't built for starvation. By the 4th day, his muscles ache. His hands tremble. Head pounding from dehydration, though he still drinks water. He starts to feel light, as if floating inside his own cell. Walls shimmer. Corners bend. Time loses shape. The next morning, they send in a psychological technician. A woman with blank eyes and a small folder. She doesn't sit. She stands by the slot and asks questions through the door. Do you understand what you're doing? Yes. Are you refusing for protest or for self-harm? Neither. She notes his answers, then says the same phrase every inmate hears. You can stop at any time. Just eat. But just eat is easy to say when freedom is a menu you never get to choose from. He doesn't reply. The pencil stops moving. She walks away. By now, even the guards are watching closer. They know what comes next. The reports, the briefings, the silent countdown before intervention. Some secretly hope he'll eat. Force-feeding means paperwork. It means confrontation. But rules are rules, and Florence runs on routine. That night, sleep doesn't come. The bed feels harder. The hum of fluorescent lights becomes unbearable. He turns on his side, dizzy, staring at the sealed vent above him. Somewhere, air seeps in, recycled, dry, cold. He wonders if it still counts as breathing when it's controlled by someone else. On the 5th day, the nurse returns. This time she speaks less. Step forward. She checks his eyes, pupils slow. Skin pale. Notes dehydration, dizziness, and diminished cooperation. She tells the guards he's close to collapse. The guards nod, but say nothing. They've seen worse. After she leaves, one of them lingers at the slot. He looks in quietly, almost human for a moment. You think they'll let you win? He says. No answer. He smirks. Nobody wins here. Then the slot slams shut. For the inmate, those words echo longer than hunger. Nobody wins here. In Florence, that might be the closest thing to truth. By now, every sound becomes sharper. The echo of metal doors, the shuffle of boots, the faint crackle of the radio. The mind tries to fill the silence. He remembers smells, meat frying, fresh bread, steam from a pot. They feel close enough to touch, but when he opens his eyes, it's only concrete. Refusing food starts as a decision, but it ends as a war between body and mind. The body pleads to survive. The mind refuses to surrender. And in ADX, both sides lose. Later that day, the nurse returns for one more check. Blood pressure dangerously low. They record it again. Another report goes up. Recommend intervention within 24 hours. But Florence doesn't move quickly. It waits until weakness becomes obedience. Until the fight starts fading. Until the inmate's rebellion turns into exhaustion. That night, the guards leave the tray closer than before. They place it near his bed, within reach. A test. He stares at it for a long time. His body screams for food, but his pride stays still. Hours pass. He never touches it. When morning comes, the tray is gone. Replaced with another one, fresh, hot. No words, no warning. Just the smell of food as a weapon. The inmate feels dizzy again. His heartbeat races, then slows. He grips the edge of the bunk to stay upright. He knows he's close to collapse. But still, he won't eat. Outside, the nurse speaks to the officers. He's dropping fast. If he doesn't take fluids voluntarily, we'll have to act. The officer nods. Log it. Send it upstairs. Protocol again. Always protocol. That's how Florence wins. Not through violence or force, but through patience. By watching a man destroy himself one skipped meal at a time. As the second week begins, the inmate no longer feels hunger, just emptiness. Every step feels like falling. Every breath like effort. He stares at the tiny window slit, wondering if anyone outside even knows he's still alive. His rebellion is invisible, documented only in medical charts and surveillance tapes. And yet, somewhere inside, he still believes refusing food means he's free. He still believes control belongs to him. But soon, the system will remind him that even hunger isn't his to command. The next step is already planned. Paperwork approved. Orders signed. The next chapter isn't about refusal, it's about compliance. And in ADX Florence, compliance doesn't mean choice. It means force. By the seventh day, hunger is no longer the enemy. The mind is. In ADX Florence, starvation becomes a mirror, reflecting everything the system wants you to see. Weakness, fear, silence. The body still fights to live, but the mind begins to slip. Every second without food pulls him deeper into the slow unraveling the prison was built for. The cameras keep rolling. The guards keep watching. The war has shifted from the stomach to the soul. This is where Florence stops waiting. Now it starts pushing. It begins quietly. The tray appears again, 3 times a day, same food, same timing, same position on the floor. But now it's strategy. They make sure he sees it, smells it, feels it. Hot food. Steam rising. They know that scent burns through a starving brain faster than any threat. He looks at it for a long time. He knows it's bait. He knows they're testing his will, measuring how long before the hunger breaks him. The tray stays for hours, long enough for the smell to fill the cell. Then, as the light fades, it's taken away. Another silent failure recorded. Florence doesn't punish openly. It manipulates quietly. When the body is weak, the mind becomes clay. And in this place, control is the art of reshaping human will. The lights change subtly now. Sometimes brighter, sometimes dimmer. No pattern, no reason. Sleep becomes harder. He lies awake not knowing if it's day or night. He starts to hear things, faint echoes, metal clicks, a whisper that could be his own voice. Isolation here isn't just a room. It's a weapon designed to turn a man against himself. They don't have to yell or beat him. Just let time and silence eat away at what's left. Other inmates exist, but they're ghosts behind concrete. Sometimes a pipe carries sound, a tap, a muffled cough, a voice trying to reach out. He listens, desperate for proof that someone else is still alive. But even that connection is part of the control. Because hope, in here, is rationed. By day 9, his hands tremble when he moves. Every motion feels like weightlifting through mud. He can't focus for long. When he stares at the wall, shapes appear and fade. The hunger has become something else, a fog inside his skull. And then the pressure changes again. Now they use sound. Heavy boots during the night. Doors slamming on other tiers. Keys rattling just outside his cell. Always stopping, never entering. Enough to keep the mind awake. Never enough to prove it's intentional. He starts to realize this isn't punishment for not eating. It's reprogramming. They want the refusal to turn into regret. They want the silence to break him faster than starvation ever could. He thinks of giving in. Not because he's hungry, but because he's tired. Tired of being watched. Tired of being invisible. Tired of being both at the same time. The next day, they bring the tray again. But this time, it's different. There's real meat on it. Or at least, it looks like it. Maybe it's just soy. Maybe not. He can't tell anymore. The smell hits him harder now. His stomach twists. His throat tightens. For a second, he reaches out, then stops. He knows this is the moment they're waiting for. The one weakness they can exploit. He pushes it away again. Barely. But the camera sees it all. And somewhere, someone writes down, still refusing. The prison doesn't respond with anger. It responds with precision. They cut recreation time. They delay mail. They shift his schedule, just slightly, enough to erase the rhythm that kept him sane. Now he's alone in true isolation. Even the small noises from other cells disappear. It's not coincidence. It's method. ADX Florence is designed to crush without ever touching. He starts talking to himself, not out of madness, but to hear a human voice. Whispers turn to murmurs, murmurs to fragments of memories. He talks about meals he remembers. He talks to his mother. To no one. It's the kind of talking that happens before the mind breaks in two. The guards watch it unfold. They don't intervene. Every day, the medical team logs vitals, then leaves. The body weakens. The will erodes. The data grows. In Florence, pain is never wasted. It's documented. One night, the lights flicker again. He's half asleep, half delirious. The air feels thick, heavy. Then, faintly, through the vent, he smells something. Food. Real food. Garlic. Fried oil. They're cooking something nearby, or maybe it's deliberate. He doesn't know anymore. All he knows is the craving feels like a hallucination. He sits up, trembling. His mouth waters involuntarily. For a moment, his brain forgets the fight and remembers being human. Then he realizes, this is the point. This is control. To make you want something you can never have until you surrender. Florence doesn't torture the body. It teaches obedience. And hunger is the lesson. By the 10th day, the order comes down. The medical team files a sustainment request. They're preparing for the next phase, force compliance. The system gives one last chance to cooperate. A guard delivers the message flatly. You eat today, or tomorrow, we make you. The words hang in the air. Not shouted, just factual. There's no anger, no cruelty, just the routine efficiency of an institution that has done this before. The inmate doesn't answer. He's too weak to speak. He lies back on the bed, staring at the light above. He thinks about everything he's lost, his freedom, his name, now his control. Tomorrow, he knows, they'll come. He's read about it. He's seen others carried away. He knows what "make you" means. It means the chair, the tube, the end of choice. But tonight, for one last time, he still owns his hunger. It's the final piece of himself the prison hasn't taken, yet. And in a place built to break everything human, that small act of defiance still feels like victory. Day 11. The body has stopped asking for food. The hunger that once screamed has turned into silence. That silence is what triggers the next phase. The report goes up. One line in the file seals his fate. Inmate continues voluntary starvation. Florence doesn't beg. It orders. The word voluntary disappears once the order is signed. From that moment, the prison owns his body completely. They call it medical intervention. He calls it the end of choice. That morning, the guards arrive in full formation, 6 of them, expressionless behind visors. No words, no warnings. The door opens with a heavy metallic click, echoing through the corridor. He doesn't resist, he can't. His arms are thin, his legs weak. They lift him carefully, almost gently, because everything here must appear humane. He's led through the sterile hallway. White walls, no windows, cameras every few feet. The air smells of disinfectant and metal. Every step feels like a countdown. He knows where they're taking him. The medical block. A place colder than the cells, quieter than the grave. Inside, a chair waits. It's not an electric chair, but it has the same purpose. Control. Straps across the arms, chest, and legs. A steel frame bolted to the floor. A medical team stands ready. A doctor, 2 nurses, and officers behind them. Everything in this room says one thing. We decide what happens next. They secure him in the chair. Leather tightens around his wrists. Buckle clicks echo like handcuffs of a different kind. He can't move, but he still has his voice. He whispers, "I said no." No one answers. One nurse avoids his eyes, preparing the tube. Another opens a packet of lubricant. The doctor nods once. That's the signal. The tube slides in through the nose. It burns instantly. A foreign object invading his body. He gags, coughs, tries to turn away, but the straps hold firm. The sound of liquid flowing through the tube fills the room. Slow, steady, mechanical. This isn't feeding. It's submission delivered through plastic. The formula is tasteless, thick, warm. It fills the stomach too fast. Pain spreads across his chest. Tears form, not from emotion, from reflex. The body rebels even when the mind has stopped. He wants to scream, but the tube keeps him silent. For 10 minutes, he's not a person, just a system being refilled. The doctor checks the monitor. Vitals stable, he says flatly. The guards relax. The nurse removes the tube. A small streak of blood follows. She wipes it away quickly, as if wiping off guilt. Procedure complete. They unstrap him slowly. He's too weak to stand. 2 guards lift him, guiding him back toward the cell. The doctor calls out the line every inmate hears. Feeding successful. Continue monitoring. Back inside his cell, he collapses on the floor. His throat burns. His nose bleeds. His stomach aches from the sudden flood of calories. But what hurts more is the realization that even starvation is no longer his choice. Florence has taken that too. Hours later, the nurse returns. She checks his vitals again, records the numbers, and leaves without a word. He lies there, staring at the ceiling. The hum of fluorescent lights never stops. Every second feels heavier now, not from hunger, but from defeat. Force feeding is framed as care, but here it's punishment disguised as medicine. The procedure repeats daily. Same chair, same straps, same mechanical sound. The body grows dependent on the tube. The system calls it recovery, the inmate calls it surrender. After several sessions, he stops resisting. When they come for him, he doesn't fight. He walks on his own, sits down, and waits for the straps. He tells himself it's just another part of prison routine, another ritual. That's how they win. They make obedience feel normal. During one session, the doctor speaks softly. You'll feel better once your strength returns. The inmate doesn't respond. Strength here doesn't mean freedom. It means they can keep you alive long enough to control you again tomorrow. As the feeding continues, the reports keep building. Charts show improvement. The record reads, subject cooperative. The word cooperative replaces resistant. That single word means the battle is over. But deep inside, the inmate still keeps one small rebellion alive. He refuses to speak. They can feed his body, but not his voice. Silence becomes his last protest. For days, he doesn't say a single word. The guards notice. They talk about it quietly outside his door. He's calm now. Procedure's working. But what they don't see is the blank stare that follows them. A stare emptied of everything human. Each night, he dreams of food. Real food. Not formula, not the taste of chemicals. He dreams of warmth, of flavor, of control. But every time he wakes, the same metallic taste fills his mouth. That's how the mind remembers who's in charge. By the end of the week, the order changes again. Feeding reduced to twice daily. Medical report. Inmate stable. Stable, the word Florence uses when it has won. The system doesn't celebrate victory. It doesn't need to. It simply resumes the schedule. Breakfast trays slide through doors. Lights dim at night. The cameras keep watching. Everything returns to normal. But inside the cell, nothing is normal. Something has shifted permanently. He no longer thinks about hunger or control. He thinks about time, endless, measured, meaningless. He realizes that in Florence, even survival is something they let you borrow. And so he lies back on the metal bunk, staring into the red camera light. His stomach is full, but he's never felt emptier. Because in the world's most secure prison, food isn't nourishment. It's power. And once you refuse it, the system finds a way to feed you its control instead. The days blend into each other. Morning. Lights. Trays. Silence. Inside ADX Florence, time doesn't move, it circulates. Every sound repeats. The buzz of lights, the hum of vents, the distant clang of a door closing somewhere down the hall. He's still alive. But it doesn't feel like survival. It feels like maintenance. The body is fed, measured, kept functioning. The soul is left unattended. After the force feeding ends, there's no celebration, no relief. Just observation. Every guard, every nurse, every report checks for compliance. They say he's recovering. But recovery here doesn't mean healing. It means he's back under full control. Meals start returning through the slot. Metal tray. Lukewarm food. The same smell he once hated now fills him with something colder. Indifference. He doesn't refuse it anymore. He eats because it's easier. He chews slowly, not tasting anything, not caring to. The rebellion is over, but something inside him hasn't come back. It's the part that believed hunger could speak louder than silence. Now, silence is all he has left. Days later, a psychologist visits his cell. Clipboard in hand, polite smile that never reaches the eyes. "How are you feeling today?" The inmate stares. He doesn't answer. The question doesn't deserve an answer. Because in Florence, how you feel stopped matching the day you arrived. The psychologist writes something down, probably unresponsive. Then she leaves, and the door closes with a finality that feels permanent. There's a myth that hunger strikes bring power. That refusing food is a statement. Maybe it was once. But inside ADX Florence, power doesn't shift. It just adapts. The system absorbs resistance and turns it into another process, another form, another file. Weeks pass. He's regained weight, but not strength. The guards stop calling medical. Routine resumes. They see a man who gave up. They don't see the quiet calculations still flickering behind his eyes. He's learned something from all of this. Not about hunger, not about food, but about control. Here, control isn't force. It's repetition. Repetition until the human inside forgets it ever had a choice. Every day at noon, a camera light blinks red for exactly 2 seconds. It's the system checking in, making sure he's still there, still breathing, still obeying. He watches that blink more than anything else. It's his only proof that time exists. Once, he counted those blinks. 720 in one day. Then he stopped. Because counting didn't matter. Nothing does when every day is identical to the one before. He starts to hear things. Whispers from pipes. Footsteps that never reach his door. Maybe it's imagination, maybe it's memory. But in this place, even echoes sound like punishment. Other inmates in distant cells try to communicate through taps. 3 knocks for "you good?" 2 knocks for "still here." He doesn't answer anymore. He's tired of pretending that existence here means living. At night, the hunger returns, not for food, but for feeling. The kind of hunger the prison can't measure. He dreams of sunlight, of open air, of silence that isn't forced. Then he wakes to the same sound, the hum of the vent. It's the only song ADX Florence knows. He wonders how long it's been since his name was spoken. Not his number, his name. The world outside has moved on, headlines faded, protests ended. Inside, he remains frozen in a story no one tells anymore. Sometimes he laughs quietly to himself. Because now he understands the truth. They didn't win by feeding him. They won by teaching him that nothing he does will ever matter to them. That realization is more effective than any punishment. The prison doesn't need to break bones. It breaks belief. It replaces meaning with maintenance. And when maintenance becomes your only reality, rebellion starts to look pointless. Weeks turn to months. His skin heals, his weight stabilizes, his silence deepens. The reports say he's fully recovered. Recovered? The word they use when the system finishes reshaping a man into compliance. In the end, he learns that refusing food was never the real act of defiance. The real defiance is remembering who you were before they decided for you. And in a place built to erase identity, memory is the only forbidden thing left. He keeps one last secret, a single thought he never says aloud. Every time he closes his eyes, he imagines himself outside the walls, walking free, untouched, unseen. He knows it's only in his head, but in Florence, that's the only freedom that still exists. The guards see a quiet inmate, obedient and calm. But in the silence, he's miles away. Because sometimes, escape doesn't mean running. It means remembering. And that's what really happens when you refuse food inside ADX Florence. You don't just starve your body. You expose the system for what it is. A machine that doesn't punish rebellion, it digests it. And when it's done, it swallows what's left of you whole.